Hi and welcome back to episode 5. In this episode I'm going to show you how to do the main body of weave up the side of your basket. We're going to learn how to do a really beautiful weave called an English rand. It'll make a really nice spiral pattern up the side of your basket and it's a really good basket weave to learn. For this weave I've chosen an English rand, it's called. You can see where my weave has started here, and then if we follow it around the basket it slowly spirals up through the basket. And then the last weaver is here, which is in the stake just before where I started. I'm going to work with the black mole again for this one, and from the bundles that I separated out, this is from the thin bundle. So it's still quite long willow. This is a really nice weave, it's one of my favourite weaves to do. Before I start, I might just give my basket a quick wrap down. So a wrapping iron, you don't have to use a wrapping iron, you just need something with a bit of weight. If I gently tap down, I'll make the basket more compact and flatter as I go. Now with an English rand, it's a really simple, straightforward weave. I'm actually going to start with the butt this time, not a tip. Each rod is just going to weave all the way around the basket and then I'm going to cut it off again. My willow doesn't need to be the same length as each other, but I still want it to be the same thickness, so I've pulled out of the bundle 16 weavers because I have 16 stakes, so as a minimum I need that many weavers. If I wanted to carry on up I'd need another 16, but for a basket this size it would be quite hard to control shape going up much further. Before I start, I'm just going to cut off the butt. Again, because these are machine cut, there might be a split going up. They might not be very nice at the end. But I will actually trim the basket up again at the end. So this isn't the final cut. I can start my weave anywhere in the basket, but I'm not going to start where I finish the tips because I'm just not going to. There's no point making things harder than they need to be, so I'm going to start in a clear bit somewhere where I don't have any ends. With this weave I can start it on the inside of the basket, which is absolutely fine, or I can start it on the outside of the basket, and if I start it on the outside like I've done with this one, it makes a nice feature of the weave. All basket weaves have their pros and their cons. One of the great things about this weave is we're just working with one weaver at a time. So we start anywhere in the basket because it's a circle, we weave around once and then we cut it off. We then add the next one, weave around once and cut it off. So it's straightforward and it's easy to do. One of the disadvantages of this weave is if I've started here, all of my strong material is going to be in this part of the basket and all of my weak material is going to be here for a while before it gets stronger, so there's more controlling the shape of the basket. So far with my basket I've done a good job of, if I just take this rod out again, this is the shape of the basket and it's pretty good. This one's slightly out but it's really not very much, so I've managed to control the shape really well. This weave's going to put it under a little bit more pressure. So I'm just going to make sure that my tie is in a position to give the basket some support, some shape, and I'm going to really pay attention to what the basket shape's doing as I weave around. So I'm going to start here and I'm choosing to start on the outside of the basket. It doesn't matter how much this sticks out, but there's no point in it sticking out that much. And I just need to make sure with the rods that I've chosen that they're long enough to get back to the beginning, which these easily are. So I'm going to cut it again at the end, but for now I'm just going to leave it just a little bit past the stake that I've added it to, and then I'm going to start weaving around my basket. Same advice as I've been giving before, I'm going to make sure that I've got some weight on the left hand side so that that's not raising up. And then because my material's thick at this point, I'm going to just tell the willow. So I'm going to do that simple movement so that I have a crease straight away against the stake. And I'm doing a weave that just goes behind and back out, behind and back out. And I'm going to follow that all the way around the basket. Notice how my left hand's following the weave all the time so that the weave's staying really low. I can end this weaver anytime I like, but I need to make sure that when I weave with the next one ends on the next gap after the one that I've ended this on. It'll make more sense in a minute. I can theoretically end this on the outside of the basket, but my basket will end up looking scruffy because I'll have that cut and that cut. So I always finish them on the inside of the basket, and if I cut it nice and neat just after the stake, I won't have to cut it again. So I've chosen to end this on the stake before the stake that I started on. So my next weaver, I'm going to start in exactly the same way, but this time it's going to start on the next stake. So if I started here, my next one's going to start on the next stake past it. I'm moving to the right, so if we were looking at the face of a clock, I'm weaving anti-clockwise. So it's the same weave. I'm going to keep my left hand on it, I'm going to tell the weaver, and then bring the weave around. Again, if it's still thick and you think the frame's under a lot of pressure, support your stake, keep the weave low, tell it, do the next weave. It's obvious if you're doing the weave correctly or wrongly, because the weaver that you're working on should be doing the opposite to the weave beneath it. So this is where I finished my last weaver, so I need to do one more weave with this one so that it finishes on the next stake. And again, I'm just going to cut it just past that stake. So I started here, my next weaver's here, so my next weaver needs to start there, and this is the easiest way to add it. Just make sure as you're pushing down, I don't know if you can see, but this one's being pushed in, this one's being pushed out, so I'm just going to take my time and make the weaver have the give, not the stakes. I want my stakes to stay straight and stay strong. I might give it a little wrap down at this point. Hopefully at this part of the basket you should be able to get into a nice little flow, but I'm still making minor adjustments as I go around. So like this weaver's coming in, this stake's coming in a little bit. It's good to stop every now and again and just look around your basket and make sure it's the shape that you still want it to be. I always tell my students that making minor adjustments continually as you go along means that you don't have to try and make major adjustments later on, because that never works very well. So if you can see, this was my first one, which is against this stake, and this is my final one, which is against the final stake. I've got lots of nice little tips left over, so remember these can be used for other things, don't throw them away. I'm going to give my basket another little wrap down to get it as flat and as neat as possible. So the final thing to do now before I do my border is another little wale, just to sit down on top of the weave and to give the border something to weave onto. For my final 3-rod wale, I'm going to use 6 rods again because I'm going to chase. So I've chosen 6 rods, very similar length and thickness to each other. I'm going to start with the tips again, and I'm just going to cut them down again a little bit like I did with the first one. Just because they're so flimsy at the ends, if I cut them a little bit shorter, it makes them a bit stronger before I start. Everything on a good basket is cut off. We don't try and hide anything, because when we did the first 3-rod wale, I tucked it in and then started weaving with it, but the tucking it in was just to stop it moving about. If I tuck these into here, you'll be able to see it and it won't look nice. So everything in a basket's cut off. So this time, because I'm already weaving up the sides, I'm just going to add each tip into each new gap, and then once I've started weaving, they'll just stay in place. And anything that's sticking out or on the inside of the basket, I'll cut off at the end. So I've added a tip, 1, 2, 3, into each new gap, and then the weave, it's the left one, it goes on top of the right weaver, just behind one stake and back out. So remember, the weave is in front of 2 stakes behind one, but don't count the stakes. count the weavers in relation to each other. So it's always the left weaver, it goes on top of the right weaver, behind and back out. And we're chasing, so once they're in and they can't fall out, I'm going to add my second set. I can count if I want to, but I really don't need to. I started there, so that's halfway. So 1, 2, 3, and then left on top of right. And I'm going to now follow these weavers until I get towards the butts. I've reached the other set, so I'm going to leave this set and carry on weaving with this set again. This weave is my last opportunity to shape my basket, so that stake's too far in. So I'm going to make sure as I go around that I pop that stake in the position I want it to be in. And my locking weave, this 3-rod Wale, will hold it in place. So go slow with this weave, it's an important weave. I'm about to do a butt to butt join, so I'm going to turn them around and I'm going to cut off any excess from the butt. Just going to give it a little wrap down again. Again, I can trim the tips on the outside or the inside. I'm going to do them on the inside, just past the stake, and then I won't have to trim them again. You could do an extra layer, like I said, if you wanted to, with the English rand, but this is just a nice size little basket, so we don't want to go up too high. Well done if you've got this far. We've learned how to do an English rand in this episode, the main body of weaving up the side of the basket, and we've also done our final 3-rod Wale before we start our border. In the next episode, I'm going to show you how to tackle a border. I'm going to really break it down and make it as simple as possible because this is the most complicated part of the basket. If you're following along, please leave your comments and feedback below. It'd be really nice to see what you're all up to. Thanks for watching and see you in the next episode.